Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to do another classic film review, and it is the 2002 film Signs, a movie that is directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. And this is a film that is one of my personal favourites in regards to M. Night Shyamalan's. I've always really loved this movie. I think it's really well made. However, I do take on board a lot of the criticism that comes towards this film, which we'll talk a little bit about later. Now, you may have noticed recently I did the classic film review for Unbreakable, another one of M. Night Shyamalan films. A film that I absolutely love as well. And after watching Unbreakable and watching this one again so close together recently, I always thought Signs was my favourite film from M. Night Shyamalan's. However, I would probably say that Unbreakable is probably a little bit better than this, and it's probably my current favourite of his films. And if you don't know and you've never seen Signs, this basically is an alien invasion film, basically, but told in a very isolated way, in the sense of it just focuses on one family, Mel Gibson's family, who's a former preacher who lost his faith about 6 months previously when his wife was killed in a car accident. A car swerved off the road and killed her, basically. So he lost his faith in God. So he's no longer a preacher. His brother Joaquin Phoenix has moved in with him to help him with his two children, played by Rory Culkin and Abigail Breslin, I believe it is, who's wonderful as his little daughter. And Rory Culkin as well actually does a tremendous job as his son. And pretty much straight from the off with this movie, we are introduced to like crop circles. They turn up in his crops, in his cornfields, and then they start appearing all over the world. And then there's wild speculation all over the TV, and Mel Gibson's not buying any of it initially. There's animals across the county acting strangely, and then there's lights in the sky start appearing, and they're watching all this unfold on telly, and it looks like this actually might be real, and this might be visitors from another world, but nobody knows. Are they going to be friendly or are they going to be hostile? Rory Culkin, his son, tends to believe they're going to be hostile, as do many others. And this film just focuses on this family, basically, and how they cope with this crisis, I suppose you could call it, and a crisis in faith, certainly for Mel Gibson's character. And this film asks really one very simple question: are there such things as coincidences? Or is it just luck, pure luck, how things happen? And it asks that question in really clever ways in this movie, and it culminates right at the end with a really nice reveal that ultimately ends up with Mel Gibson refinding his faith because of the questions he gets answered with this movie. Now, this film has, I guess, received some criticism, especially at the ending. Mainly because, and I do get it, it's like, if this isn't an alien invasion, it's one of the worst of all time, because if they have such a horrific reaction to water, why would you try and invade a planet that's basically just water? Doesn't make a lot of sense. I get that, I really do, and they really are the most incompetent alien invaders of all time. But take that away from it, it's still a great movie, this. And the way it's intertwined and written is really cleverly done. How his son's got asthma, and it all ties into the ending, and how his wife, pretty much her final words were to tell Joaquin Phoenix to swing away with the bat. And it all adds up to that moment in his life that will ultimately, save him and save his family and save his faith. Really cleverly done, and I really enjoyed this movie. It's kind of, I remember the first time I watched it, and that scene, you can see it now, the picture, where you get that first reveal of these creatures, and the reaction you get from Joaquin Phoenix was pretty much exactly the same reaction I gave when I saw it for the first time. Utter shock. And I remember rewinding it and watching it over and over again when I first saw that. Kind of lost a little bit of its impact, that. But if you've never seen Signs and you watch it from this film for the first time, I think you'll be deeply impressed, because it's a really interesting take on an alien invasion. We don't always need to see, battles with armies and massive explosions and, heroes charging about with M16s and all that kind of stuff. I think this is such an original take on this kind of on an alien invasion, and they do it from a much more personal perspective, and they do it from our perspective, really. If an alien invasion happened tomorrow, how would you or I deal with it? And this film focuses on that. The performances throughout this film are all absolutely top notch. I thought Mel Gibson was superb in this movie. Again, reminds us all what an incredibly talented actor he is, and it is great to see him back now, and delivering on some really fantastic movies once again. Joaquin Phoenix is wonderfully cast and plays a really lovely role as his younger brother, and the two kids, I can't fault their performances at all. They do a wonderful job, and overall I think this is a very strong film, and certainly one of my favourites in regards to M. Night Shyamalan's